and welcome to the Irish Film London podcast, your fortnightly catch-up on what's happening in the world of Irish film. Stay tuned for the latest Irish film news and interviews with some of the best names in the Irish film industry. I'm Niamh Brannigan and I'm joined with Gerry Maguire. How are you this week, Gerry?
Yeah, I'm really good, Niamh. Thank you very much. How are you doing?
Good. Yeah, all good. In this week's episode, once again, you were off out of the studio, like me the other week with My Sailor, My Love, and you were in person in the BFI, am I right?
I was, yeah. Very exciting. In the BFI South Bank.
Very nice. You were interviewing Andrew Legge, the director of the new Irish sci-fi LOLA. But before we dive into the interview, let's catch up on what's been going on in the world of Irish film the last couple of weeks. First things first, we've no awards to chat about for once. A little bit of a relief there.
Yeah, it is.
It feels like that just went on forever, all of those awards.
It felt like it was about 6 solid months of awards shite. And then I am totally sick of it now. Like, I really enjoyed
the build-up and stuff.
The build-up, yeah. And I guess, like, I don't know, it's kind of like when your county gets to the All-Ireland or something, like you couldn't be arsed watching the game otherwise, but you're like, all of a sudden everyone has to go and get a ticket from the local guy or whatever, you know.
Does that happen you much, Gerry?
What does Fermanagh get to the All-Ireland final much? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Are we having some personal
I'm digging
here?
the knife in. But we're coming into spring, and April is a very busy month for Irish film releases, actually. So there's Lola, which we covered today, which is great. And then there's also a new feature film called Barbie, starring Aidan Gillen, that has its official release earlier this week too. And in a couple of weeks, there is also both Evil Dead Rise, directed by Lee Cronin, and Pray for Our Sinners, directed by Sinead O'Shea.
Yes.
Two very, very different films there.
Very different films there, yeah. Not exactly a double bill that you're going
No, but Irish Film London will be doing a preview of Pray for Our Sinners, which is really, really cool. But we'll get to that.
Yes.
So much to get through today. What else is next? Oh, also the long-awaited release of Lakelands is going to be out early May. I remember finishing the Galway Film Flat and us talking about Lakelands, and the fact that it's kind of nearly like a year is just amazing. I'm so excited for more people to see it now. It's going to be great, and we're going to have a podcast with the Lakelands crew as well, which is really, really cool. It may or may not turn into a therapy session. I'm just pre-warning people. And
I'm excited for people to see that. Lakelands went down so well at our St. Patrick's Film Festival in March. I'm really excited for that to come out.
Definitely. And then also, which was a cool thing that I heard during the week, is Graham Norton is doing a new Amazon show.
Oh yeah, I heard about this. So this is Amazon's first Irish, like, Amazon original series. It's the comedy game show thing, right?
Yes, last one laughing. Lol.
Yes, lol Ireland.
Lol. Why I haven't been called, I'm not really sure. But you know, maybe my phone's broken and I'll get the call to come on the show, you know.
Yeah, I heard they were looking for your number there, yeah.
Anyway, moving on. Speaking of late show hosts, well, he's not a late show host, he's a talk show host.
Yeah.
But they are looking for the new late show host. Maybe my phone really is broken, Gerry.
That's why they haven't called you for the Graham Norton thing, because they're waiting to make an offer to you for the late. Yeah.
I mean, no bet that woman. I could do it.
That's it. Isn't the Irish Late Late Show like the original, like the longest running of that format of show?
It's the very first Late Late Show, which is really cool. And also, you know, if it is a female host, that would be really cool as well, because I don't think there's ever been a female Late Late Show host.
In anyone across the world? Yeah,
like there's always just been like female daytime show, like chat show hosts, do you know what I mean? Or maybe there might be someone who might fill in for Jimmy Fallon or something, but there's never been like late with, or, you know, that kind of thing. So that would be cool if it was a female host for sure. Between being the very first Late Late Show and then maybe being the first Late Late Show with a female. host that would be very cool. So we'll see.
Who do you
We'll
think
wait
it will
and see.
be though? Like, who do you think's going to take over from Tuberty?
I really don't know. I mean, there's talk about like Claire Byrne, Kieran Garrahy. Who else were they talking about? Because you see, usually it's kind of someone who would have been in radio for a while. Like, you know, it wouldn't be someone massively out of the blue that we've never heard of, kind of thing.
Right.
You know, I wonder.
Although, to be honest, I don't think I'd ever heard of Tuberty before. So
Yeah, true that. What else was cool that came out this week? Oh yeah, the Barbie trailer. Oh my god!
Oh my god! Is that not the biggest cast you've ever seen? Like,
living, hook it to my veins. I cannot wait.
It is actually genuinely it, and the Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse 2. Like, those are probably my two most anticipated films of the year.
Agreed. I cannot wait. Summer's gonna be great. There's another thing as well. It will come to me throughout our chat. That's coming out as well. That's also going to be fab. But I mean, what a cast! Obviously, Margot Robbie, Ryan Gosling. I was saying that loads of the cast of Sex Education is in there, which is really fun.
Yeah,
I see that.
So Emma
great.
Mackey and Goody, and loads of people are in there. I see Nicola Coughlan's in it.
Yes, our very own.
Will Ferrell, Dua Lipa, Niamh Branigan, Jenny the Donkey.
I mean, at this stage, just throw them in. You never know. Could make an appearance.
Have you seen the memes though?
Yes, I have. I've been really enjoying them.
I tried making a meme of myself to add myself to the cast earlier today, but my phone wouldn't upload the picture, so I'm not in the Barbie film anymore.
Oh well, I did have to draw a line when I saw the Jedward one. I was like, okay, we need to rein it in now. Come on.
I didn't say that.
Oh,
that's
man.
funny.
But in Irish Film London news, we kind of briefly chatted about it last time, but North Circular is going on tour with IFL, isn't it?
That's right, yeah. So we have got a ton of new stuff coming up. So yes, we talked about briefly last time, I think, about how we're kind of finished with festival season at IFL now, but weirdly we've got loads of events still to come in April and May, which is great, of course, but also
never not working.
Yeah, but it makes me really busy. So, the first of those to mention is a tour of Luke McManus's award-winning documentary North Circular. There are dates on sale around Britain now, basically. So the first of those are at the Tyneside Cinema in Newcastle on Friday the 28th of April. There is a show at Glasgow Film Theatre on Saturday 29th and at the Cameo in Edinburgh on Sunday the 30th. And we've just added Dundee on May the 1st, so that's 4 nights in a row in the northeast of England and sort of south of Scotland. Tickets for all of those are on sale now. I think the Dundee show tickets for that will hopefully be on sale by the time this podcast is out. So when we will be looking to add more dates to that across the month of May and possibly into June. So what we've been doing for that as well is we've been taking requests from people to ask, where do you want to see North Circular? It's a film that's been shown so extensively in Ireland. It's probably still at the Lighthouse.
I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah, between the Lighthouse and the IFI, it's definitely still popping up.
Yeah, but it just hasn't had a chance to be seen in the UK, so we're trying to bring it to as many people, and especially as many people who it resonates with from an Irish background as possible. So what we're saying is, if you want to see it in a place near you, jump onto the Irish Film London website, irishfilmlondon.com/events, find North Circular, and there's a button there to click to email us and request a screening where you are, and we'll do our best to bring it to you. What else have we got going on? Wednesday the 19th of April, we're doing our preview screening of Pray for Our Sinners. That is at Curzon Soho. It's directed by Sinead O'Shea, who you might remember from the really hard-hitting documentary A Mother Takes Her Son to Be Shot, which was just an incredible film from a few years back. So Sinead has returned to her hometown of Navan, and this film essentially deals with like the legacy of institutional abuse, but it's very much a film that's from the perspective of people who resisted and did not give in to that abuse, whether it's corporal punishment or the power of the church or mother and baby homes or anything like that. The people that she follows are people who said no to that, and the film's tagline is really important and it's really lovely. The tagline is, "There is always a way to resist." I really like that.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, that's going to be gorgeous. That's going to be really, really great.
So Sinead's coming down to do a Q&A for that with a very special host. Where I think I'm okay to say this now on the podcast, because by the time it's out, hopefully it's all confirmed. But we think we've got Annie Mac coming down to host that Q&A. So
amazing.
I mean, I really hope that we do have her now that I've said that, but I'm going to put that
out.
Yeah.
You heard it here first, guys.
I'm well excited. About that. Yeah.
No, that's going to be really, really gorgeous. She's such a brilliant interviewer, and it's going to be a really special Q&A, I would say. Definitely, I wish I was there. And then for our listeners who have listened to the podcast Nothing Compares, directed by Catherine Ferguson, and maybe haven't gotten a chance to see the documentary, there's an opportunity to see it now.
That's right. So we're bringing Nothing Compares back to the cinema on Wednesday, May the 3rd at the Rio. Tickets are on sale for that very soon too. Again, possibly on sale by the time this goes out. So Catherine Ferguson will be there for a Q&A, the director, and there might be a networking event tagged onto that event too. So again, look out for more info on the Irish Film London website this coming week. Nothing Compares will soon have a digital release. We're just not entirely sure when that transmission date is, so we just wanted to bring it into the cinema again one last time. So this is absolutely your last chance to see it on the big screen. So it's so gorgeous to see it on the big screen. I mean, because there's so many concert moments. Totally.
So to see it on the big screen is such a treat to see Sinead, perform in any sort of way in that sense. So that would be really, really great.
So for all those, just head over to irishfilmlondon.com/events, find the ticket links, or look up the cinema website for each city or for each screening, and make sure to tell a friend, and then tell your friend to tell another friend, and then pay it forward
all
like
the
that.
Friends.
Yeah, and then we'll see you all there. Brilliant.
Amazing. God, we're like, I just can't get over how much we're growing. Like, all of these places that we're going, and people that we're reaching and everything. It's just so cool. I'm feeling very proud, Gerry.
Yeah, so we should be. We're allowed to be proud.
So the work, though, does not stop, as you guys can hopefully imagine by everything that we're always telling you that we have on. So we're so ahead of ourselves, so much so that submissions are now open for Irish Film London for our big festival.
Yes, indeed. So submissions for Irish Film Festival London in November have just opened on Film Freeway. You can only submit via Film Freeway, but you are greatly encouraged to submit early to avail of our early bird rates, and those are until the middle of May. So you've only got a month or so to get yourself sorted for that.
So for that, you can head to filmfreeway.com/Irish Film Festival London for a chance to screen your film in the UK's largest festival of Irish film culture. And remember, all selected films are automatically in the running for the Irish Film London Awards, taking place at the Embassy of Ireland, courtesy of the Ambassador Martin Fraser. And I mean, if you've been to any of our events, but definitely to those awards, they are a sight to behold. It is a great time altogether. So I'd just even put your film in just for that, to be honest.
Just to get into the embassy for a hoodie.
Pretty much. No, but definitely do that. And actually, Gerry, what would be your advice on filmmakers who maybe have a short but maybe it's not fully graded, or maybe the sound isn't fully mixed but they want it? Would you suggest just popping it in or waiting until it's fully formed and finished?
That is such a good question, actually, and that's something that we get loads of questions in about that from filmmakers. If you're happy with the structure of your film and it's kind of picture locked, send it in to us and send us a little cover note to say this needs a grade, or this needs like an extra sound mix or something like this. But we're going to be watching it on our laptops on Film Freeway. We're not going to be watching it on a big projector, and you've got 6 months to sort all that out. But
amazing.
Get it into us before you can't get it into us. Don't miss the deadline.
Got it. Amazing. Brilliant. Alrighty. Well, I am looking forward to this interview. Really, really looking forward to seeing Lola, and I will chat to you in a fortnight, Gerry.
Nice one. Speak to you soon, Niamh.
Bye. If you're part of the regular Irish Film London audience or want to get more from your experience, consider joining our growing family of members for a range of exciting benefits. Irish Film London is a non-for-profit organisation. Our mission is to promote the best new Irish films to audiences all over the UK, and with the help of this podcast, the world. If you become a festival friend or a festival champion, you get perks like discounted tickets for films and events, free access to Irish Film from Home films, and invites to networking events and so much more. So check it out now. Another way of supporting IFL is heading over to our Ko-fi donation page, which you can find at ko-fi.com/IFL podcast, where you can chuck us the price of a cup of coffee, or even better, a pint. If you value what we do and think, I'd like to buy these guys a cup of coffee if I meet them, well, now you can.
Sounds of the sunny South Bank. I'm outside BFI South Bank, the National Film Theatre, because I'm about to go in and speak to director Andrew Legge, whose new film LOLA is out this Friday. LOLA is... What is LOLA? Well, in 1941, music-loving sisters Thomasina and Martha, affectionately known as Tom and Mars in the film, they build a machine called LOLA, which can intercept broadcasts from the future. It's quite a cool-looking machine, actually. It's all like glass valves and sort of whistly radio kind of interference things going on in it. It's quite a cool contraption. And while the sisters initially used the machine for, the small stuff like becoming the world's first David Bowie fans, they soon realised that it might hold the key to defeating the Nazis. Lola proves to be massively effective in shifting the tide of the war, but as Thomasina begins to become carried away with the level of power the machine holds over the future, the sisters soon discover the world-altering consequences of their actions. The film features original music by Neil Hannon of The Divine Comedy, and it's shot entirely on 16 and 35mm film stock, and it's directed by Andrew Legge from a script he co-wrote with Angeli McFarlane, who you might know from Death of a President, and with 16 and 35mm photography by Una Menges. It also stars Rory Fleck-Byrne from This Is Going to Hurt, and Aaron Monaghan from Assassin's Creed, and Hugh O'Connor from Chocolat. So I caught up with Andrew, the film's director, at the quite cavernous Blue Room at the BFI South Bank earlier on this week. It's quite a big space to conduct a podcast interview in, but I think we got off with it quite well. So let's have a listen, and you can let me know for yourself.
Come on. Miss Hanbury, your sister, is her mysterious invention, LOLA. LOLA is a system of electrical processes which allows us to observe broadcasts from the future.
This is magnificent, it's beautiful. It's going to change history.
This is the true magic.
Movies, royal weddings, a musical rebellion, signals beamed around the world.
Because of this pioneering work.
This marks a huge turning point in the war against Nazi Germany.
Tom, you are more brilliant than even you know. And also more dangerous.
We're under sustained attack. 6 German destroyers, 45 heavy air bombardment.
Early this morning, catastrophe struck Britain.
Why has it suddenly changed?
The adjustment of variables could lead to a new set of consequences.
I don't understand.
The maliciously false intel resulted in this country being invaded.
We have to leave.
LOLA was never meant to be an instrument of violence.
Can we undo this?
So I'm joined with Andrew Legge, the director of Lola. Andrew, thank you very much for spending time with me today.
Oh, thank you.
It's a beautiful film that I've seen twice now. I want to ask you to start off with how the project came about.
So the project came about probably out of my short films, because I'd done like 3 or 4 short films, and then I went to get into feature films, and like in a way it was a little bit like the devil, like doing a film that had its origins in your shorts and doing stuff that you're kind of familiar with. So
Yeah.
I'd already done a short called The Chronoscope, which is like a faux documentary in a kind of aesthetic style. And I liked that. I wanted to explore that. And I liked shooting on Bolexes and things because I just love the look. And those cameras are so fun to use. So I wanted to do something kind of in that format. I wanted to do a genre sci-fi thing. And so I kind of developed the Chronoscope. I think early drafts of Lola were more like would have been more like a traditional documentary, like a faux documentary with talking heads and stuff. And then that went out the window quite early on because I guess it's kind of been done a little bit.
Okay.
I don't know if it would have. And then it's just kind of developed like that, and the sci-fi aspect of the machine in Chronoscope, it was seen into the past, and then we kind of developed that into the machine that could see into the future, and just developing it, and then bringing in the music elements, like the idea of the sisters being able to see to pick up music from the future was the idea that we were really tickled by, and I guess those were the origins.
Okay, so that sounds like. Because I know the Chronoscope is like, it's quite old as a short film now. So it sounds like the origins of Lola go back in time to that.
Yeah.
In a way, some time traveling going on here.
I guess, it is a long time. I mean, the current, it is long.
Yeah. Okay.
But then its filmmaking is long. It takes a long time to develop and then go from idea to screen is usually about 5 or 6 years, isn't it?
Oh yeah, easily. Yeah.
So.
Okay. And then so you're the writer and the director on the project. Is that something that do you always want to be a writer director, or do you feel like you always take ownership of your work in those two very different ways?
I mean, it's not by design. It's more like. It's more just, I guess you have an idea you want to. I find writing really difficult, so I actually like working with other people. So actually, I worked with Angie McFarlane, helped me on this script, and co-wrote it with me. So I do love working with other people. I find writing really hard. It's more just necessity because you have a film that you want to make and the script isn't there, so you have to write it.
Yeah,
but not because you want to, but because no one else is going to.
Well, no one's going to write it for you.
Yeah, and I think if you're making your first feature as well, nobody's going to give you like an amazing script. You're just not going to get handed the script.
Yeah.
So you kind of have to generate your own stuff.
Okay.
I think. Would that be fair?
Yeah, I think that's I mean, that's my experience as well in the production world, is that often you can't wait around for things to happen. You've got to be, if you want to be a director of films, you've got to be finding your own work or making your own work.
Yeah,
so I guess that's what you've done
in
this instance.
I think so.
Yeah. Okay.
I always get scared talking about the journey because it's so long. Oh my gosh.
No, but it's there now. So it's one of those things. It's like, I know what you mean. I think often when you're a filmmaker, you don't want to talk about the journey in case the journey never ends. You often don't want to talk about like this script that you've got in development in case it never leaves development, and then someone 10 years later says, I remember talking to that guy when he had a script in development 10 years ago, but it never went anywhere.
I mean, for me, writing is it's like I find a painful process, and for me it's like literally trying poo at a wall and some of it sticks.
Yeah.
And just trying stuff and you go, no, that doesn't work. No. Oh, that's a nice idea. Like that's for me, like the writing. I wouldn't just sit there and write a script.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
What what is your process when you're writing? Like, so you worked with Angela McFarlane on this. So where did your work start and end, and where did Angela come in? At what point of the project did she get involved? Were you at treatment or early draft or something like that? Or?
I think we had a draft, and then we felt we needed to change direction, and then Angela came in as script editor, and she was very good. She was like script editing for me, right. And then and she was really good as a script editor, because she would be really like, there's no conflict in the scene, like what's the point of the scene? And I'd be like, oh yeah, you're right. So that was great. So we did that, and then like it came to stage where it's like, well, why don't you do a draft? And she said, cool. So I had a draft, and then we just gave it to her, and then she did a draft.
Oh wow!
And that's kind of how it worked.
Okay, and I guess it was collaborative from that point.
Yeah. And then we got the draft back, and then I would done more changes, and then we went and shot it. And
yeah. Okay. And then, like, Lola as a film it's definitely a sci-fi, although it's also like feels like a period film, and feels like it's sort of like genre bending a little bit. Like, how would you describe it?
This is a good question. Like, it's kind of like an art film in a way, but it's an art film for genre audiences. Like I guess like for me, like the films I would have grown up like watching as a kid would have been much more genre-y Hollywood, like, you know, like I'd have been much more drawn to that than very arty films.
Okay. So what kind of like influences would have been there?
Like as a kid, like it would have been like I would have loved like Spielberg, you know, like E.T. and Back to the Future and like Ghostbusters and all these films.
Right.
Like I love the Coen brothers, love Woody Allen films. So that would be more what I would have been the films I would have watched.
Yes.
But yeah, I like in a way I wasn't consciously setting out to make any particular genre. It was what I was drawn to, just like I liked the idea of sci-fi and like in the kind of adventure story. But then I also loved the idea of doing a movie where you're using this technology to tell the story in a way.
Yeah.
Like the idea that these were scientists and the ideas of the cameras and stuff that they use are part of the storytelling.
Yes.
So none of it was conscious. It was more like just stuff that I wanted to do, I think.
Okay.
I just did it.
Okay. So like your next film might not be a sci-fi necessarily. Is that what you're saying?
It probably will be, because I'm kind of drawn to that. And it'll probably be period. I mean, I'm drawn to sci-fi and I'm drawn to lovely like period stuff just because of the beauty of, maybe it's a little bit of nostalgia, but the beauty of old things. Like I think when we were doing Chronoscope or actually any of my short films and Lola, like what I loved was getting the work when we were working with the production designers and the designers built in Lola, like drawing from like old 1940s, like beautiful, you know, old televisions and radios where everything's made of wood and glass and valves and brass, and like this is the beauty of that stuff, like because it's all homemade, it's all like or handmade.
Yes.
So there's just something really beautiful, and in the same way, I guess like an old car is really beautiful.
Yeah. It makes me think about all the old formats of film that you've used in Lola, because I mean, you've talked about Bolex and your love of Bolex. A lot of it must be shot on 16mm, and like, is there lots of different formats in there? Or?
So we had about 5 cameras. So we used the main camera was the Bolex, and that was Mars's camera. So Mars is the one of the protagonists who's telling the story. So I saw it as her like point of view was the Bolex. But then we also, because when we're doing like long sand sync sequences, we use an ARRI flex, 16mm ARRI flex, but with old lenses on it, which you could sync up properly. And then we used for the newsreels, we used an ARRI 35mm, and then we used a Newman Sinclair when it didn't break down, which is the 1930s 35mm camera that you wind up, which was beautiful, but it would break down quite regularly.
Right.
And then we had a little ARRI, an old 1950s 16mm ARRI that we used for Sebastian's camera, but it's kind of the same as the Bolex.
Does that mean the whole thing was shot in film then?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's so rare for a film these days, isn't it?
Yeah. But it was kind of like, I remember when like early on, it was never even questioned. Like it just had to be because of the nature of the film and
Yeah.
trying to get that verisimilitude, is that the word?
Verisimilitude.
Yeah. Like it had, like we didn't want to start chasing it with digital, so we did it all on film.
Yeah.
And some of it is home processed as well.
Oh wow.
So the whole opening sequence with the little girls who are my daughters, we just shot that off the shoot, like just at weekends, and that was really nice because I had the luxury then of being able to not worry too much about the film and just shoot it on the Bolex and then take it home and then process it myself and then post it to CineLab to get scanned.
Yes.
So that's why that opening stuff has a real like home processed look.
Wow.
And what else can we say about the artist? And Stephanie operated all her shots as well.
Okay.
So when she was doing Mars, she was operating as well.
Yeah.
Which was really good for performance and everything.
Yeah. Oh wow, that's something I didn't realize about it. I kind of had assumed that, like a lot of films these days, that there was a bit of like post-production work done to make it look more grainy or filmy, I guess. But it's all genuine.
That's all there. I mean, the post work was mainly about it was grading the stuff that we'd shot so that it matched in with the archive.
Yeah.
So it was more grading work. And then there was also, we were manipulating archival footage to kind of twist it into our story.
Yes.
So like London.
Yeah. So like Hitler visiting London and
so that's all like rotoscoping, or there's a shot where there's like people running through London and then there's two Stuttgart bombers in the background. And that's a real air raid drill section. It's a rehearsal kind of thing in 1938, and then the Stuttgarts are put in digitally.
Wow.
So it was doing that kind of stuff.
Yeah. So that's something that really caught my eye in the film as well, was the use of that type of VFX work to make us feel like we're really watching something unfold, or we're watching a record of something. Because actually, now that I think about it, another way that I thought about this film when I watched it the second time was that it's almost like a found footage film or something like this, you know? I mean, it presents itself as Mars's message to Thomasina, and it's almost like all of it is archived and cut together from slices of reels that Mars has found, right?
That was the exact intention. So the whole idea is like she's documenting all this stuff in the house, and then at the end, when the adventure's all over and she's surviving there, she's like, needs to tell this story. So she gets all her home movie stuff, and then she somehow gets hold of all the Pathé newsreels as well, and just splices it all in together to make this kind of monster, which was a real challenge, I think, in the edit, because it means by definition or by nature you're going to end up with quite a jagged film in a sense,
okay,
which could be a criticism, but that's kind of the nature of the beast in a way.
Yeah.
Because the idea was that she was literally pulling bits of clips from here and there and then sticking them together.
Yes.
In her movie LOLA.
Okay.
And then doing an amazing 5:1 sound mix. 1940s.
The 1940s Dolby surround, yeah. No, but I mean that makes a lot of sense, and it gives all the more reason why those sequences of things going awry in the city of London and in the countryside, why they have to be believable, you know, why they have to be stitched together so perfectly. And it's fairly amazing to me that it does stitch together so seamlessly. It's like I really feel like I'm looking at, I don't know, I guess I have some sort of uncanny valley sense of there being a deep fakiness around images of like SS troops on the streets in London and stuff that I know didn't happen, but it's, you know, I can't really see the joins in it, kind of thing. Which is
that's really good too. I mean, there was no deep fake in it. Like, it was all just traditional, and we did flirt with the idea of deep fake because it had been around. But I remember having a conversation with Alan, the producer, and he was right. It was kind of, it was something nice doing it just traditionally with like splicing and rotoscoping and stuff like that.
But that rotoscope technique is also like a very old technique.
Exactly. So that was quite nice. I mean, we're doing it digitally, but it's the same. It's just like like Melly would have been doing something similar. The to get that, like what you're saying, like it was like a really long, like, 'cause the edit was meant to be 8 weeks, and it ended up being like a 5-month edit. And I think a lot of that was trying to make stuff work, because a lot of stuff didn't quite, when we were in the early edit, it wasn't quite working the way, like there was a lot of work to make those sequences, I think, feel seamless and kind of, but also to keep a narrative going and not.
Yeah.
That was the trickiness, I think.
Yeah. Okay. But as well as all these beautiful aesthetic elements, you've got some beautiful performances in there as well from all your leads, really. Stephanie Martini and Emma Appleton, Rory Fleckburn and Aaron Monaghan.
I mean, the casting process and everything, we were very upfront when we were pitching it to actors, in that it was a little bit of an experimental film, that they were going to be doing their own camera operating, and particularly to Stephanie, that it was going to be kind of this low budget, minimal kind of makeup, minimal lighting. And I think they liked the Emma and Steph really liked that vibe. And then before the film, we had 2 weeks, because it was the lockdown. We shot the film during lockdown, so they were actually forced to self-isolate when they came over to Ireland, and that was kind of cool, because I lent them the Bolex, so they went and they learned how to use the Bolex. I taught them how to home process film. So we were trying to do stuff like that, and then they ended up living together, like in this little house, which is really good, because they really got to know each other, and they got on really well, which is super. So I think all that really fed into their performances and their believability. Steph learned the guitar for the film as well.
Oh wow.
Yeah, because she sings in all those songs as well.
Yeah. Okay. So just by being in your film, they're guitar players and they know how to process 16mm film now.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Marks for the CV. That's good. I mean, another standout element of the film that would be remiss of us not to talk about is its incredible soundtrack. And I think there's two things to talk about there. First of all, there's the importance of David Bowie in this film, and all these musical references. I guess, is that a reflection of your musical taste, or?
But probably, yeah. I mean, you write what you like, I guess.
Yeah.
I wasn't going to put music in there that I didn't love. So I obviously would be a fan of David Bowie. That was interesting, because I remember when we were doing the script, in the early version of the script, the sisters weren't able to see that far into the future, and so that music element wasn't in the script. And I remember when I came up with the idea of that actually, what if it's all really far in and they get music, and it really felt like a breakthrough in terms of the script. Like the script before that was a totally different, much colder beast. It suddenly just opened up a whole fun possibilities and stuff, like this idea of these two women in the 30s, 40s, who kind of would have grown up in this kind of Edwardian era, but been exposed to like punk and rock. Like there was something really nice about that. So that was cool. So once that was in there, it made it much more exciting. And then when we were in kind of pre-production, Alan Morris suggested, why don't you get Neil Hannon, which I think was like a super, like it wouldn't have even occurred to me that we could have got him. So we pitched it to Neil, and he, I think, was really taken by it. Like our pitch to Neil was that he had to do the sisters themselves are musicians, so they're going to be writing music in the film, but they're writing music in the film in the 1940s, but their influences are all like from the future, like from the 60s, 70s. So it's like 40s music, but with 60s, 70s influences. And the idea is that they kind of make their own instruments. So Thomasina builds like this kind of weird synthesizer. So that was like one pitch. And then the second pitch was that he had to write music later on in the movie, which was this weird kind of fascist alternate universe that the sisters inadvertently create, and it was music from that. So the idea that David Bowie gets erased, and then instead of David Bowie, you've got like this kind of fascist, evil version, which was Reginald Watson. So that was the pitch to Neil, and I think he just really got that, and then just went. And I remember like early on in the process, like he was sending me like little videos of this instrument called a Teutonium, which is a early 1930s synthesizer that somebody made in Berlin.
Oh wow!
Using all like valves and little electrical kind of things. Like he's playing it with wires, and he was making this maddest, weirdest sound. And that was the inspiration for the opening music to the movie, which is the Tuit.
Oh right.
Which is like a weird synthy sound with a piano going as well. So the idea is like the one of the sisters is playing the piano and the other one is playing the synth. So those were all the kind of, I guess, like the parameters for the music, and then Neil just went and just was sending us these amazing little pieces.
Yeah, because like I mean, Neil's the other side of the musical equation in the film. There's the licensed music, I guess, if you want to call it that, and then the stuff that Neil's brought to it as well. It's incredible. Yeah,
so there's two. So the license bit to the Space Odyssey, and then there's the reworking of the Kinks.
Oh yeah, you really got me.
You really got me, which Neil did with a guy called Keane Boylan and his swing band. So it was like a 1940s interpretation of You Really Got Me. But then all the other music in the movie, apart from like there's a little bit of Elgar, I think, in there as well, but all the other stuff is Neil's music. There's quite a lot of it.
Yeah.
Because also the song at the end on the photograph is Neil's song, which weirdly, when you say to people, they're like, really? I thought it was like just some like 1940s song he got, but it's Neil's wife Kathy Davies singing.
Oh wow!
Nice.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, that's lovely.
And then the song that Stephanie sings later in the film was also written by Neil.
Right, the one she plays on the guitar.
Yeah, Remember Tomorrow.
Yeah. Okay, that's nice. I did think that had a bit of a Neil Hannon vibe to it.
Yeah, and that's actually I shouldn't say that's his guitar.
There's this great moment where Mars like loses it because she's checking on Lola, and Bowie has disappeared. He's not there anymore, and it's like a life-changing event for her. Like her whole morality kicks in around what it means to use Lola at that stage. I feel like it's such a pivotal moment in the film where I guess the sisters start to go in different ways at that point, and we get to figure out who they are becoming as characters. And it's quite nice to me that David Bowie is the catalyst for all that, or the importance or the gravity of losing David Bowie makes that moment so much more important. Yeah,
that's actually that was a fun scene, and it was Steph who came up with the whole thing, because I remember we were rehearsing it, and in the script it was like Thomasina says there'll be somebody as good as David Bowie, and then Mara says there's Reginald Watson was in the script. I remember Steph was like, that line doesn't quite work, because she needed something to pivot her up to this higher like emotion of rage.
Yeah.
So she put in the Reginald fucking Watson into the thing, and I remember it was really it really worked. It kind of it's the turning point in the movie.
Not a word to Tom, promise?
Promise.
Right, go over there to that panel, back there, over there, to the left. See the switches in the middle row?
Yeah.
Third one in, flick it. Yes! Now over to the other side. Other side, quickly. And the 3 silver ones, flick them up. Yes. I'm going to need a power surge when we're going. Oh, that's far out.
Far out of where?
Now, tune it to 133 kilohertz. 9:03 p.m. 8th of March, 1973.
I think it's 30 years into the future.
I just made your broadcast. Royal weddings, signals beamed around the world. The Diamonds, though, are the hit songs. Oh, you used the wrong time.
You said 9:03, 8th of March.
1973. Let me see.
And cracking the chart barrier at #1 for the 10th week running, Reginald Watson, the sound of marking feet. It looks like Watson will be making musical history as his new hit, Meet Me at the Gallows, has just crashed #2.
I don't understand. Tom? Tom!
What are you doing?
He's not there.
Who?
David Bowie.
Who's David Bowie?
He's gone. Bowie's gone.
And then there's this other element of it. I mean, it's basically kind of an anti-fascist movie, I guess, in the sense of like, of it being a film that's about the dangers of how technology can be manipulated as a weapon, and I guess how easily Tom kind of went over to the dark side a little bit.
Yeah, I think she kind of had that little fascist kind of molecule in there a little bit, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Do you think that there was always a part of her that maybe like would have been manipulated into becoming that kind of person?
Is she manipulated in, or is she... I mean, she thinks she's doing right. She's well-intentioned. Which a lot of people in the 30s might have been well-intentioned, but misguided. Like, she's just totally misguided. I don't think she's evil, though.
Yeah.
She's just like, her intentions are...
Yeah. Because that's maybe like the parable that's in that is that, you know, she thinks she's doing things for the greater good, serving her country and all this kind of thing. But then she has made a diary, which Mars finds later on, in which she's regrets all the things that she's done and how she's ended up where she is, and you know, how did it come to this and all this kind of stuff. But I feel like that's going to be a common sentiment for a lot of people living in that time, right?
Yeah, totally. Like, I was thinking, somebody was asking me the other day about the Mitford sisters, because they, you know, the Mitford sisters, like Jessica Mitford was a communist and went in the Spanish Civil War, or tried to come fight in the Spanish Civil War, but they kind of chased after her and brought her back because she was like 19. She eloped with a communist.
Oh, really? Okay.
Who was the nephew of Winston Churchill, and the two of them went off over to do that.
Oh, wow.
And then her older sister, Dan Mitford, was like a crazy fascist, like really, like, wow. She was married to Oswald Mosley.
Oh, wow. Okay, that's about as fascist as it gets.
Yeah. And Dana Mitford was so, like, it's extraordinary. Like, if you go onto YouTube, there's an interview with Dana Mitford from the 1970s, and she's totally unrepentant about her views.
Wow.
She wasn't like one of the fascists said, "Oh, I was never a fascist." She was like consistent to the end.
So she thought she was never a fascist?
No, she was consistent to the end in her politics, in her right-wing politics.
Oh, I see.
She didn't, like a lot of people, I think, kind of pretended that they weren't
right.
fascists.
Yeah.
Like, they were like, "Oh, no. Where she was like in the 70s, she's sitting on BBC, like, just kind of defending her position.
Yeah. Okay. The film was shot, a lot of it was shot in Ireland, right?
Yeah.
Where was it shot?
In Selbridge, Kildare, County Kildare.
Okay.
So Selbridge, mainly, that was where the house was, because it does actually look like an Irish house.
Yeah.
I think. Did you think that when you
Well, yeah, like when I thought about it afterwards, I thought, yeah, that could be someone's granny's house or something on any old farm in Ireland. But actually, it was believable as like a English country manor kind of spot, I guess.
Yeah, I think if you had like, it's interesting. I always think, but yeah, so that's Kildare, and then we shot a day or two in Dublin, like right. With the streety stuff, like when the sisters are taken away, arrested, and all that stuff with the mob and the court and all that. And then we did a day in London with Emma, who plays Thomasina. Yeah, just like in Buckingham Palace and all that.
Oh yes, of course. Yeah. Spotted that. It's so funny because it feels, without knowing who anyone involved with the film is, it feels like a through and through kind of English countryside tale, but it's actually full of Irish influence and Irish creative influence and mostly shot in Ireland, and the British officers are both Irish actors.
Yeah. I mean, it's been picked up a little bit. People said that, but I think it's like in a way, it's a universal story. Like it's two sisters, and like, it could be set anywhere in a way. Like they could be French girls,
right?
Like in the like listening to French music,
right?
In the future. And
yeah.
I don't know. Some like, I think like I wouldn't say it as specifically an English story or an Irish story in a way. Like, it's just these two people.
Did you always want to set it in the UK?
It kind of, again, it wasn't really it just felt like that's where the story belonged. Like that's where this particular setting belonged.
Yeah.
I don't know how it would have worked in Ireland. It wouldn't have, because we were neutral.
Yeah.
And Ireland was kind of a theocracy in the 1940s anyway. Like it would have been a different type of film.
Yeah.
How did it work?
Yeah, I wonder. Maybe the enemies would have been different or something. I don't know. Not many.
The enemies would have been from within. The enemy would have been De Valera and his fascist brigade of right-wing Catholic clergy. I don't know.
Yeah. There's not many sci-fi set in Ireland. That I'm aware of. Actually, can't think of any Irish sci-fis off the top of my head. Lots of Irish horror.
What about Grabbers? Is that a sci-fi? It's more horror.
Yeah, I'd say it's more horror. Yeah.
Lorcan and Finnegan.
Right. Yeah.
But Vivarium is not set anywhere.
Exactly. Yeah, set in a snow globe.
It's
kind of place, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's interesting. Okay, so when's Lola out?
Friday the 7th.
Friday the 7th of April. UK and Ireland.
Yeah.
And where can people see it?
In their local cinema.
It's only in cinemas, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's only in cinemas. There's a little website thing that if you go onto lola.movie, I think it is.
Yeah.
You can it'll tell you which cinemas it's in. It's going to be digitally released, I think, in May.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Well, okay, so 7th of April, UK and Ireland, only in cinemas. Please go and watch Lola. And Andrew, thank you very much for taking time out of your pre-release schedule to come and talk to me and our listeners. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
And that's it for this week's interview. Thank you all so much for listening. We hope you really enjoyed it. Thank you to Culture Ireland and the Irish Emigrant Support Programme. Myself and Gerry will be back in a fortnight with a brand new interview. See you then.